Get everything ready.
Yeet.
Are those all your talking points?
No.
Oh, okay.
I literally pulled out a note and then I wrote one thing.
Oh, okay, perfect. Because I didn't write down anything. That's how I like to prepare for
S. Soup. I'm swallowing chocolate.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I'm Spencer.
And I'm Shelby.
And we're here to take you on a journey where we ask life's biggest questions, one of which may or may not be, waiter, how is the soup made? It's important.
It is.
It's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
These conversations need to be had.
Absolutely.
And, we're the ones who are taking up the tough task of doing it.
Exactly.
Shelby, how's it going?
It's going.
Cool. If you guys are listening, just kidding.
No,
but seriously. If you guys are listening to this, we're in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Already. Not right now.
You're looking at it. If you're not listening to it, we hate you.
You're looking at us. You're like, guys, that's the same background. That's wild.
We've green screened our old apartment into the new apartment.
That'd be wild.
We don't own a green screen.
As you're listening to this, current day Shelby and Spencer are likely unpacking.
Hopefully.
Or you're listening to this
driving.
2 weeks later and it's been over. So.
Oh.
I just assume people don't listen to it day of.
That's fair, yeah. That's fair.
But yeah. So this is officially the last podcast we're recording in this apartment.
Oh my god.
We have no
How does that make you feel?
We have no pre-recorded or anything like that coming up. So
nope.
It's just this one.
Just this one.
How does it make me feel? End of an era,
Yeah.
End of an era.
Although I will say I feel like the futon era of what's happening was more of an end of an era than this is.
Yeah, we were just streaming yesterday and people were bringing up the old setup of stuff and it really takes you back.
For some reason that setup was so iconic.
Yeah, it really it felt right.
It did. Although our life is easier in this setup.
Our life is easier.
Immensely easier.
Just in general. Out of that apartment.
Yeah.
But from a content creating standpoint, it was iconic, I guess, for us.
I guess we have to get another sofa just for recording.
Yeah.
That way we're seen as iconic again.
Yeah. 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 Or we just gotta get we have to have a setup that is just as memorable.
Satisfying. Yeah.
Because this one is not.
Yeah, I guess not. We're just two jamokes with a mic and a cat that occasionally walks through the background. Ridiculous.
These are all facts. So how have you been?
I've been okay. I'm very excited, insanely excited to move. But also in the back of my brain, everything I look at, I just go, that has to get into a box, and that has to get in the box, and that, oh god, and that has to get into a box. My brain's been doing that in the background, but otherwise, I'm very excited. How have you been doing?
I'm good.
Yeah? Why are you making that face at me?
I don't know. I was just talking to you earlier where I was just my brain is just, I don't know if you were giving me some of your brain sillies from yesterday and if they transferred over to me, but I just feel I feel brain dead.
Yeah.
I'm not tired or anything. My head is just so foggy.
Yeah.
I just cannot break through.
Yeah. Just a little overloaded mentally.
I guess. I don't know. Because I don't really feel that stressed. I'm not surprisingly, I'm not anxious. Yeah, I don't know. It's very weird. Very weird.
But I mean, also it's one of those things where we've been doing so much lately that even if you're not consciously oh my god, this is everything we've done, this is everything we still need to do, this is we've had to worry about a lot subconsciously that I think you just hit a point where you're well, I'm tired, I'm mentally tired, my brain can't handle any more responsibility today, and that's it.
Yeah,
it happens.
I know. I just wish it would stop happening.
That's very fair.
It made work very difficult today.
Yeah. But also, we have quite the weekend ahead of us.
I know, and that too,
I'm a
right?
little stressed.
Like I'm literally sitting here like got all the stuff I got to get done
Yeah.
for work yet,
Same.
and I just have no desire to do it because I know I'm literally packing everything up and moving in
Right.
4 days.
Right.
And I just like want my attention on that. And I feel like
Mhm.
my attention has been on that. And now, I don't know, dude. It's just,
I feel that I also have to get a lot done before we go.
it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're here to talk about
That's
today.
not at all
Let's
what we're
get
here to talk
over
about.
Our little mental exhaustion or whatever the hell this is.
Yeah, we just need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Pull your pants up, put a belt on, grow up,
Mm-hmm.
get to work,
Uh-huh.
uphill both ways.
Yeah, exactly. You get it.
So this week is movie club.
Movie club.
So we're gonna make you sit there and listen to all the things that we've been watching, and then we will highlight and end it with the
movie
assignment.
Yeah.
That we put out there. Apologies right off the top. Pause right after I say what I'm about to say. If you didn't get to watch Night and Day yet, you can watch it on YouTube TV.
Yep.
Or Hulu if you have the live TV like premium.
Yeah.
Other than that, you can always watch movies at Redacted and on sites such as Redacted and Redacted.
Right.
So
precisely.
if you look, you can find it. But for if you have a streaming service, if you have any of those, YouTube TV and Hulu with the live TV are the two that have Night and Day currently on it. We forgot to say that last week. And we waited until last week to even give the assignment.
Exactly.
And did not give people a lot of time.
Nope.
So hopefully you had a chance.
Or
Or you just don't care.
Or you get to listen to all this and then go watch and be like, yeah, they're so right.
Or so wrong.
No.
Okay. But first, before we get into that, it's just like, what have we been watching?
What have we been watching?
This is what What's Happening used to be all about.
It is what What's Happening used to be all about.
So, what have we been watching?
We're really behind on Mando, The Mandalorian.
We're behind on Mando.
Because that's done.
Yeah.
And it's been done.
Very mixed reviews on this season.
Fair,
Yeah.
honestly. I haven't been super into it. I don't have complaints. I just haven't been super into it. But we have to finish that. So we have like 2 episodes left, I think. 2-3 episodes.
I think 3.
So we have that. We're watching Parks and Recreation still.
We are watching Parks and
very,
Rec.
very slowly, but we're doing it.
We were going good there for a while. Then we slowed down a bit.
Yeah.
Which is to be expected.
And that's kind of it. It's been busy.
Yeah, we did watch some other stuff, but
We watched the Tetris movie.
there, yeah. Yep.
That was good.
Watched the Tetris movie. Tetris movie was very good.
It was fun. It was also insane.
Yes, it was crazy.
But it was really good on
but-
Apple TV.
But yeah, that is a good one. What else? I know there's something else that we watched like not too long ago that was really good. No, I just cannot think. Was there another TV show that we were watching that was coming out episodically?
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
I don't know. It's tough. Tough to remember.
Yes.
I should write these things down, I guess.
I mean, not show or anything. I feel like I'm back on YouTube grind again.
Yeah.
I've been big into YouTube. And they're all booktubers or people who talk about books all the time.
Yeah, you've I think somewhat found your like potential collection obsession, which is books, except you read them
And
then give them away.
Yeah.
But you are kind of at a point where you like do like get a lot of them and you like search for deals and stuff like that before getting them and stuff. And then you build up a nice little backlog.
Yep.
And what did you just say earlier? You bought 18 over the course of like 48 hours.
Yeah.
Which like 11 of those were like combined $15 from a thrift store or something crazy.
In total for the whole set, I probably spent $25 to $30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got 18
Yeah.
and you already read 6 of them,
Yeah.
and that was
And I'm
less than a month ago, or just over a month ago at this point. No, it was a month ago.
And I'm
literally a month ago.
third of the way through 2 more of them.
So that's crazy.
Yes. Well, because I bought them. I almost bought books like 2 weeks prior to that, but I was like, no buying books before we leave. Even though it was like a month out, I was like, no buying books. We're not traveling with books. And then 2 weeks later, bought 18 and was like, well, now I have to read all of these books. So I was like, I need to read them all right
I don't know about
now.
all of them, but
No, but I got
the fact that you're getting through half is good. Yeah.
So we're traveling with only half of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went through. I'm just enjoying reading, and I'm enjoying listening to other people talk about books. And so I just read, and then I want to read, and then I just watch booktubers,
Mhm.
and then I go, "Ooh, that's fun," and I put it on my little list. I think that's where I get more satisfaction. I get more satisfaction putting books on my list than I do from like what people describe as the fun of buying books.
Mhm.
And I don't know why, but I like have it in my brain that I'm not ready to collect books. Like I just don't want that right now. And I think I'm too much in the mindset of like, oh, every like 2 to 3 years we move. Like,
Right.
I just don't want to like collect books.
Yeah, I think,
and
like,
then in
if we
2
get-
years be like, Jesus, I need to move these 30 books.
Yeah, I think like once we have like a more permanent situation,
Maybe.
it would be kind of cool to even just have one bookshelf
Yeah.
where like it's your like all-time list.
Yeah.
And you have to be so good
Yeah.
to get
make
put
it.
onto the shelf.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that'd be really cool.
It'd be fun. I like the idea of like I totally get
Because like
the appeal.
not to the point where like obviously you can if you want, but
Yeah.
you seem to be like hesitant on like how many you have and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like if you did an entire like wall or around an entire room, the walls are just books, like effectively a mini library. That'd be sick.
It would be.
That'd be so cool.
It would be.
But I also get like not wanting to like, I mean I don't get it, but I get it. You know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Right.
But I get it. Like I get why you wouldn't want to necessarily have that volume.
Yeah.
Again,
You don't.
I do it
But
with video games, right?
right.
But yeah, like I think just having like effectively a shrine
Yeah.
where it's like as soon as a book comes along that's better than something that's on there, you know, you pull that, you like have them like by rank effectively.
That'd be fun.
And when it's like when the one that's like last place effectively on the list that like just made the cut is replaced, and like everything shifts down because the book becomes like number 13 all time for you.
Yeah.
Like then you just take that to a free little library and you like donate it.
Hell yeah.
Right? Because like I'm sure you won't have like that much of a connection, or you find out that you do have that much of a connection and you just grow your little collection.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I think that's like a cool opportunity. So
I'm definitely not saying never. It's just right now while I can avoid it.
not never.
I'm going
just
to.
not right now.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Not goodbye. See you
See
later.
you later.
I really haven't been watching anything outside of like the shows and stuff that we've been watching.
Yeah.
Like, I know sometimes like I don't really have a show. Like I was watching Veep there for a while, but I haven't
Oh,
watched
well,
that
the
in
new
a while.
season of Barry came out.
It came out?
I thought it did.
Or is it coming out?
I thought I saw it.
We did see a trailer
advertised.
for it.
Did
We
we
saw a
do?
trailer for it
Did
on
we?
HBO. What were we watching on HBO? Popstar. Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Yep.
That's another thing that we watched recently. It's a great movie.
Yes. It is ridiculous.
Um,
Yeah, the newest episode 5 of Barry is coming out May 7th.
oh my God. Barry's such a good show. I'll have to get on my high
pretty
horse to talk about that
confident.
for the next movie club
Yeah.
or watching club. The only other thing that I can think of, I guess, in terms of like fresh or newer things is we watched the John Mulaney special.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, other than that, that's really been it, I guess.
I think it'd be fun.
Baseball kind of takes up some of our
that
watch
kinda
time
gets
of
thrown on in the
things.
background. And NBA finals are right now, so that only took last night.
I was gonna say we only watched
But
one game thus far.
it might take up the next week,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I was just thinking in terms of like things to watch. I'm normally very critical of. Sorry to take it back to books, but I'm very critical of book to movie adaptations
Mhm.
because I think movies very rarely do it right,
Mhm.
or at least well. Can you appreciate both? Yes. Can you go from one to the other and be like they killed it? Not very often.
Yeah.
But I read Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. And I'm like, do I watch the Hulu series and go like, did they do it okay or did they not?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Really back and forth on it. One, because I just don't really often seek out shows, and two, because I'm already very aware that I'll probably go in like expecting not to like it that much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to help my opinion of it in any capacity.
Sure.
Maybe you could throw that on the list for a future, probably like rant about book to movie or show adaptations.
That could be fun.
Yeah. For the future.
For the future.
You get a Barry episode. I get a ranting episode.
I never grabbed my laptop charger. So go ahead and vamp.
Vamp. So, can I just start diving into the stuff? So, you might be asking yourself, why did we have to watch Night and Day? Why did you make us watch this? Why on earth could this have to do with anything besides the fact that there was a Tom Cruise game a few weeks ago? Well, we'll tell you. Also on Apple TV, we'd watched Tetris and we were like, wow, that was really good. And then about a week later, Apple TV was like, you know what else would be really good? This new movie called Ghosted, starring Ana de Armas and Chris Evans. Did I get all that right?
Yes.
Cool.
Minor timeout.
Cool.
I'm going to say light spoilers
Of?
for Ghosted.
Sure, I can do that. Night and Day, I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, Night and Day
It's
will
from
be
2010.
full spoilers.
Okay.
Ghosted, we'll do light spoilers. Though we will be in a roundabout way, I'm sure, discussing the end of the movie.
Probably, yeah.
And the overall tropes. We won't dive like directly into exactly what happens.
Yeah.
We'll be vague,
Yes.
but we'll still be spoiling it.
Also, I'm just going to be honest. If you've seen an action movie, you've seen the action movie.
If you've seen Night and Day, you've seen Ghosted.
Yeah.
No, that's not really true.
No, it's not. But it's if you know action-y tropes,
Yeah.
it's nothing like mind-blowing.
So just keep that in mind.
We watched Ghost.
But we watched Ghosted.
We were like, oh, I mean, Tetris was so good. And now Apple TV's doing pretty good. Like, wow, we've watched a bunch of stuff on here.
Apple TV.
We've watched a bunch of stuff on here and we've liked. So let's watch Ghosted. And then we did. And what would you say your thoughts were upon finishing the movie?
So I thought Ghosted was bad. I did not think it was a good movie, really, at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit my list. I don't think you and I need to sit there and debate whether or not it needs to go on our list.
No.
You know,
it's not that
because I
bad.
don't think it's a movie where I'm just like,
It's
don't
not
waste
atrocious.
your time.
Yeah.
But I seriously couldn't even really walk away saying like, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like personally.
Mm-hmm.
I love Chris Evans.
Yeah.
And I both in the platonic sense,
No.
in the respectful sense.
No, please keep going.
But also in the
teenage boy Megan Fox sense.
Yes, love Ana de Armas. I think
Uh-huh.
she's an absolute babe,
Mhm.
and her accent makes my heart melt.
That's fair. Yes.
So I was really excited when I saw that they were going to be in this movie together, and
Yes.
and you know, understanding the general trope. It's, if you've seen any of the ads, it's boy meets girl, gets romantically involved, and
they go on one date.
and ultimately
Boy falls head over heels.
she stops responding to him,
Yep.
and one thing leads to another, and he finds out that she's a secret spy.
Yep.
That's really it.
Yeah, that's really it.
And then, you know, comedy and action ensues afterwards. But with that being said, going into it thinking like there shouldn't be anything wrong with this movie.
Right.
It is so flawed. It is so bad. Like, I'm typically generous with movies. I can watch a dog shit, air quotes around that movie, and still find enough enjoyment out of it and say like, oh, that's still a 6 or a 7 out of 10 for me. right? It's such a baseline. Like, you have to be really bad for me to give you a 3.
Yeah.
I would give Ghosted a 3. It was bad. Like, it was just a bad structural movie.
Yeah.
The writing wasn't good. The like cinematography, especially for like Apple. Like, I feel like Apple stuff always looks so good.
Yeah.
With these productions.
Yeah.
Like, from a visual standpoint, I felt like a lot of stuff just looked so bad.
I don't know about like for me looking bad, but I literally pointed out some of the cuts they were doing. Like within minutes of the movie. I was like, are they cutting it for a certain reason? Like I immediately called out like they're doing really weird cuts.
Well, there were times too where it almost felt like Chris Evans and Ana de Armas were not talking to each other.
It was very interesting. Yeah, there were some weird.
Like it felt like they had stand-ins at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't love. You very rarely saw them in a shot like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like how you, if you're watching the video, how you see us right now, where you can see us both like looking at each other.
Yeah.
Very often it was like over the shoulder of one person,
yeah,
looking at the other person,
right?
Sort of deal. Yeah. So that was like weird, and just like a lot of like the special effects and stuff just did not look good or clean.
Mm.
The fighting for the most part was actually good though.
Yeah. I loved it.
The comedy aspects of the writing were fairly good. It was a lot of times I took issue with a lot of the like basically other dialogue when they were trying to be funny. I felt like the writing was decent.
Yeah.
Right. And like you would chuckle and stuff like that. But then anytime that it would try to be like serious, I just like, and it wasn't like funny then either. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just like bad.
Yeah.
And the flow was off at times.
Yeah.
Which I think also played into like, are they actually talking to each other?
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm long-winded, but
yeah. Well, so we watched that and we start talking about the trope of secret spy meets civilian.
Yeah.
And of course the civilian gets tied into whatever's going on and kind of how that plays out.
And so that's the other thing. And this is where I would say our biggest spoiler probably is. The reason I think I take the most issue with this movie is, it flips the trope upside down, because typically the spy in all of these scenarios is a man who falls in love with a civilian woman who's normal and all this other stuff, or a counter spy like in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Though it's not like it's focused on Brad Pitt. It's like two guns where they both find out that they are like secret agents and they're supposed to kill each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we should watch that. Not necessarily for Movie Club. So I was excited because I was like, oh, nice. Like, sure, the woke mind virus of let's make a woman the hero. But I was actually excited because I was like, wow, you literally never see this. Like, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be funny seeing the man made to be the buffoon in the situations. And I don't know. I thought it would be refreshing.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it was. It was actually really well done.
Yeah.
Until basically the end. And again, like earmuffs for like 5 minutes. Starting now. Chris Evans ends up basically being the hero.
Yeah.
And like fills in for her. Like he's a fucking farmer.
Yeah.
And he fills in like a undercover deal scenario.
Yeah.
Where his life is at risk.
Right.
And everybody was just like, this is the way we're going to do this now.
Right.
And like Ana de Armas' character still comes in and still has to be the hero at the end.
Yeah.
But it was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, in what universe would they do that if the roles were reversed? Never.
Right.
Like, it would never even be a consideration. And I think a lot of the times the movie like makes that joke to an extent of like everybody assumes that the alias of this like super secret badass has to be a man.
They do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I get it from that standpoint, but like it really like that like really threw me off. And I was just like, are you like kidding me?
Yeah.
Like up until like that point, I'm not going to say like up until that point, like the movie was perfect and all that stuff, because it was still incredibly flawed. But that was like kind of the final nail in the coffin for me, where I rolled my eyes. And it was just like, what's the point? I feel like I had a similar reaction to that this is a really weird like comparison, but Cars 3, I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I think I know exactly
And
what you're talking about.
I can't remember if it was.
Are you talking about when he goes to race and then he
does he race like a majority of the race?
He does like,
just to let the person that he was training like come in and then finish it.
I think he does like one lap or a few laps.
Or is it like flipped that like she does the majority of the race and then he does? But either way,
he doesn't finish the race.
Okay.
I'm almost positive she finishes. She either does the whole race or finishes the race. I'm almost positive.
And I just remember being like, why didn't she just race the entire race?
Right.
Like it just pissed me off.
I was
just like, what? Because I think like the entire movie is like him training her. And I was like, this could literally just be like a Rocky style thing where it's just like, I used to fight, but now I'm training you. And then she like goes out and wins the race. But instead it's like super campy and like Goodbye Lightning. And it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Like what a waste of my time. Like, I don't know. So anyway, I had almost a similar feeling to that where it's just like, why did we have to make it that like, no, everybody, hang on, the man can save the day. And then he clearly can because he's a buffoon.
Right.
It was just, that was wild to me.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I literally, for the first like 25 to 30 minutes of the movie, I was having a great time because I was like, this, like, clearly they're hinting that like Ana de Armas' character is much more just like naturally skilled than Chris Evans. Like they were very subtly hinting at it throughout the day, and like they're just goofing around. And like the very first interaction where he finds out she's a spy is, I think, funny. Like I thought it was done well. I thought it was entertaining. That is about when the time I started noticing the cuts were really weird, though, was literally during that first like whole scene. I pointed out, was like, what is going on with how they're cutting this? But like besides that, I was literally having fun. And then like post that first moment, I was like, not really having as much fun anymore.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it was going so well, and then it just got weird. Like they were trying to do too much, and then I was like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. But like literally, I loved the first 30 minutes. I was like, it's gonna be so good. They did it. They fucking did it. And then yeah, it kind of went downhill from there for me. But yeah, it was just a bummer. But because of that trope, I was like, for a movie club, we should just talk about the trope. And two, I was like, what's a movie that like perfectly encapsulates that trope? And you had thrown out James Bond.
I was like, James Bond would probably work. But I'm not.
Neither of us have seen James Bond.
Right. I'm not a James Bond buff. So
and where do you start with that?
I just know that he always has a different woman.
Yes.
Like it's always like, who's going to be the next Bond girl?
Right.
And it's only ever who's going to be the next Bond like once out of every 4.
Right. So
but there's always, I feel like, a new girl involved. And I don't know, maybe they're always also an agent, but
I have no
like
idea.
The feeling to me, if they're interchangeable and like constantly switching, that just feels, I just assumed like, I was like, oh, they're probably just like the civilian of that movie that he falls in love with.
Right.
Could be wrong.
So without wanting to touch all of that, we were like, okay, what would be the next most tropey of this? And immediately we both were like, well, we know Night and Day is this to a T.
Tom Cruise is a agent of some kind, and Cameron Diaz is a civilian.
Yeah. Like, can't get more civilian. She like owns a mechanic shop.
Yeah.
Like, and so maybe we could have done more research and had a different example.
I'm sure.
But after talking about Tom Cruise like 2 weeks ago, it was like, why not talk about Night and Day? So we would then watch Night and Day, as we said to do so last week. But again, a movie from 2010, like it's probably on TV on like FX like all the time. But regardless, a very, I'll say like cliche action movie. But if I'm like remembering correctly, like I genuinely think this movie like all but convinced me that like I like Tom Cruise. And then I watched the Mission Impossibles, and then I was like, oh yeah, like I literally feel like this movie was like the thing. Like for some reason I feel like I've seen it a million times, not in years since we watched it last night, but I feel like I was obsessed with it as like a preteen and early teenager, so it felt fitting to do it as it. And let me tell you, it started, and I took out again, I put out notes to be like, in case I want to like remember anything specific. And then I immediately was just like, I forgot how much I love this movie. Like, I love this movie so much. Like, I just think it's so freaking good. And the thing that's like, outrageous things obviously happen. It's an action movie. But it felt good in Night and Day. Whereas in Ghosted, it didn't.
Literally felt the same way. Like there, I don't know if it's just something that everything could be nostalgia.
It could be, absolutely.
But I also just can't tell if like everything about like the late like 2000s, early 2010s, where like movies and like special effects were at like a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Where it was like not trying to look too good, that
Yeah.
it was like trying to deceive you or anything, to the point that it ended up looking bad like they do nowadays.
Right.
But also they weren't so bad that it was like overly fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it just like it felt right. And I meant to say something like that when you were talking about Ghosted, but yeah, I can't even think of an exact example, but just like, of course things are gonna get over the top. It's an action movie, like obviously. But yeah, it felt right in Night and Day. Like it just was like you could laugh at it, you could be like, that was crazy. You could like you felt like what you were supposed to feel watching it.
Yeah.
Ghosted, you're like, what the fuck is going on? But my my first comment was just us being assholes in the very few minutes of the movie going, there's no way a woman would touch a car, let alone step foot in a junkyard.
Yes. Yeah. The thing I hate about this movie that makes it so unbelievable is a woman's in a junkyard.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And she claims to know
what
about
she's
cars.
Doing. Yeah. We were being assholes.
Okay.
That's like one of the 2 notes that I took. But yeah, oh yeah, first fight scene, which happens on the plane. I literally goes, I'm remembering how much I love this movie.
Yeah, and the fight scene is
so good.
done so well. Yeah, it's choreographed very well. And like it kind of gets your adrenaline going because you know it's like the fight is time sensitive because like he needs to fight all these people before Cameron Diaz gets out of the bathroom.
Yes.
And it's also like it's one of those perfect scenes that is a great fight scene, choreographed really well, but it's also very funny at the same time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Because it keeps cutting to Cameron Diaz and she's like in the bathroom and she's like getting herself all done
herself
up
to try and be like in the moment, like I'm gonna rock this guy's world.
Yep. And at one point he's like bashing a dude's head into the bathroom door and she goes occupado. So funny, like so
it's
funny.
A great movie.
It's such like it's like everything about it. In that moment, like that scene is just like they saw the easy line and they went with it,
and it was great,
and it was perfect,
and it felt good.
Yeah.
It felt good to watch it. Yeah, that scene, I immediately was like, I'm remembering how much this movie like is so good.
Yeah, and yeah, it is a good movie. Like it's solid. That's a movie that like I can look at and go, this is a fun movie. It's worth the hour and a half or whatever the runtime is on it. To watch it, like you will get entertainment out of it. It honestly has a decent story the entire time.
Yeah,
there's a good mystery involved with it. You know, it's like there are parts that are like a little unbelievable, but you know, for the most part, it's like, okay, like, yeah, the through line, it's not so over the top. Like, the through line is there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's like so believable that like this could happen.
Right.
Not saying that. And I'm not saying it's like unbelievable and that's why I hate it because it like could have never happened. But like, I don't know. Sometimes in movies, events are just like so blown up
yeah.
and like this really like wasn't. Like, they did a good job of like keeping it grounded and not trying to get too crazy with it. Outside of like the general, like there's this super battery that never loses its charge or whatever. And it's just like, okay, okay. Not in my lifetime, dude.
In 2010, okay.
Random Paul Dano jump scare. And you were like looking at him and I was like, he's the Riddler. And you were like,
oh, yeah.
Yes. Like, it's just really like it's just a really good action comedy, low romance involved.
I also
movie.
forgot like how much it jumps around, like physically, like almost time wise, because you have to imagine the time it takes to get to all these different locations. But you are literally all over the globe in one movie, and you're not confused. Like, it doesn't feel like you're jumping all the way around, whereas like almost sometimes now we'll watch movies and we'll be like, it just was jumping too much, whereas like that did like it did. I forgot how much it like goes from here to here to here to here, and again you have like no concept of like them traveling there, you're just there. And I'm like, that could have the ability to like be so overwhelming and feel so like chaotic, but like it doesn't. And I wrote I wrote, there are literal bowls, Cameron Diaz is drugged 3 separate times.
Yes.
Kick-ass car chases all over the place. I was like, can't beat it.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise gets drugged. Everyone gets drugged.
Tom Cruise runs a good bit.
Tom Cruise runs a good bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. And
not that I'm for people getting drugged. It just is ridiculous in the movie. Like, it's funny. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's handled.
Before that comes out of my mouth, very weird.
Sounds weird, but the comedic relief of it,
yes,
which again also sounds weird,
yes,
is what makes it funny.
And it comes up multiple times throughout the movie. I swear, if you haven't seen it.
Yes. And then like, yeah, she kind of like flips it on his head, which is funny.
Yeah.
At one point. Yeah. I think like, again, what I liked about that movie and what Ghosted felt like it was going towards until it veered too far into like the man has to be the hero area, was that like in both movies the spy needed to rely on the civilian to help in some regard.
Right.
And like that is always really satisfying about movies that implement that, because so often in spy movies they're already this like superhuman, can do it all,
right,
and don't need any help.
Right.
And so when you add this element, you automatically know that, like, you brought up that she was a mechanic, so it could have been like that simple, right? Like it could have just been that like they were trying to escape and for whatever reason he couldn't hotwire the specific car,
right,
and then she does it, and then they go, right? And like she's the one who like saved the day. But again, like in both, the person who should be all under control with all this stuff still needed to rely on somebody with zero experience to help crack the code of something and like something like that. And that's like, again, always like done really well.
And it's satisfying because, like, again, these people are portrayed as having like a career of only victories. Like, Anna de Armas's character is literally being hunted for because she is seen as such a threat. Like, obviously Tom Cruise's character is like, oh my God, this, like, his is more of a gone rogue situation, but still you're like, you only are fearful of those people because they're so good at what they're doing.
Right.
And then, to like get tripped up over something or be stuck in a situation, and to literally put all your faith into a freaking random ass person, was very good. Also, like, this is so weird, but like when in Night and Day, when Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise meet, it's all about like, oh, my sister's getting married. Like, that's what Cameron Diaz's character is like. Her whole mind is that at the moment. That it's crazy to me that like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get you to your wedding, no problem, and that all happens. But then really the rest of the movie happens. Like in most movies anymore, that would be the ending.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's barely the beginning to everything. It's like a midway point.
Yeah.
But still, there's so much that happens after it.
Right.
And there's something about that I love. Because again, in a typical storyline that you see, that would be the ending. It would be, oh, she's there. Maybe he's her date. Maybe he's like
in the shadows.
Yeah, in the shadows. Like, I'm here, but I can't be here.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the so stereotypical thing to do, is like what she's so focused on is the end of the movie. But again, it's not. Like, a million things happen after that. And there's something about that I just like love too.
Yeah.
So good. Just love it. I love that movie.
Solid movie. Very solid movie.
Happy we watched it again, and now I won't watch it for like 10 more years.
Yeah. But verdict, better than Ghosted?
Absolutely better than Ghosted. I mean, I was already probably going to be biased just because, like I said, it was probably one of my favorite action movies before watching Mission Impossible. But it unfortunately is way better for a lot of reasons. And yeah, I wanted to love Ghosted. Like, I was really excited to watch it.
Oh, I know.
But it did not go well. I felt like I was laughing at it for the wrong reasons by the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm laughing. This is just so ridiculous. Yeah. Not because I'm finding it funny.
Yeah.
At points, I literally was pausing it and going, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I did that multiple times. So yeah. Yeah, it was way better than Ghosted. If you're going to watch that trope, just watch Night and Day. They fucking do it right.
Yeah, definitely.
The end.
The end.
So yeah. there's a movie club-esque thing, topic, anything you want us to dive into in the future, feel free to let us know. Both of our socials are always in the description of every video slash episode.
And you can just let us know underneath the video too.
Yeah, you can let us know on YouTube underneath the video. And yeah.
It'll probably be about a month and we'll do another one.
Yeah. Try to do it roughly every month or so, month and a half it probably ends up being, so that we don't bombard anyone with
also just kind of depends on when we are
watching
what
stuff.
What are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
And we don't know what to talk about. Why don't we just talk about what we've been watching?
Yeah. So thank you all for listening. For watching, if you're watching on YouTube. If you'd like to watch, we are on YouTube, the SMSoup podcast. Just hitting all the promos while we're here because we never do that. And we'll see you in North Carolina.